The first thing I learned about alien prisons was that they were beautiful. Not comfortable, not humane, but beautiful. My cell floated inside a sphere of transparent crystal, suspended above a massive city that glowed like a living constellation. Towers curved upward like growing plants, and rivers of light moved through the air as if gravity had been politely ignored. I pressed my forehead to the barrier and stared down at the alien capital. "Enjoying the view?" a voice said behind me. I turned. She stood outside the barrier, tall, elegant, and impossibly calm. Her skin shimmered faintly blue, like moonlight reflected on water. Silver markings flowed across her arms in slow motion, as if alive. Her eyes held a depth I couldn't describe, not cold, not warm, ancient. She wore armor, but it was ceremonial, almost royal. I had met soldiers before. This was not a soldier. "Let me guess," I said. "Interrogator?" "No." She stepped closer. "I am Princess Alyra of the Tereth Dominion." I blinked. "Great," I muttered. "I get captured by aliens, and the princess personally visits. Either I'm important, or I'm about to die." She studied me for a long moment. "You are human. Your species fought when surrender was logical. You disabled 3 warships with a mining shuttle. 4, I corrected. 1 crashed into the other." She tilted her head slightly. "That is why you interest me." I leaned back against the wall. "So what happens now? Dissection? Brain scan? Galactic zoo exhibit?"
"No."
She touched the barrier. The crystal dissolved instantly. I tensed but didn't move. "I wish to make a deal," she said. I laughed once. "Princess, I'm literally your prisoner. That's not a deal. That's instructions." Her expression didn't change. "You misunderstand. I need you alive." That got my attention. "Why?" She hesitated, just barely. "Because my empire is about to fall." Middle, the deal. Her ship was unlike anything human technology could build. It didn't hum or vibrate. It felt aware. The walls adjusted to my height. The air matched Earth's oxygen levels. Even the lighting softened when I squinted. Either they were incredibly polite or incredibly prepared. She led me into a chamber overlooking space. The stars looked closer here, sharp and bright, as if we weren't fully in reality anymore. "You capture me to ask for help," I said. "No," she replied calmly. "I captured you because your survival rate exceeds statistical prediction. You succeed where advanced species fail." "Luck," I said. She shook her head. "Humans call it luck. We call it adaptive irrationality." I sat down. That might be the nicest insult I've ever heard. She activated a star map. Thousands of systems appeared, most marked in gold. Then I saw the red ones. They were spreading.
"Fast."
"What is that?" I asked quietly. Her voice softened. The silence. The red regions flickered and vanished. Entire star systems erased in seconds. "No explosion," I whispered. "No radiation. No debris. No signals." I swallowed. "Something's deleting reality." "Yes." "And you think I can help?" "I think," she said, meeting my eyes, "you are the only being who might survive contact with it." I laughed nervously. "Princess, I fix broken mining equipment for a living. You fought an impossible battle and won. By accident." "Precisely." She folded her hands behind her back. "My people predict outcomes. We calculate every possibility. The silence destroys us because we act logically. And humans don't. You do the unexpected." I leaned forward. "So your master plan is chaos?" Her lips curved slightly. "Yes." I stared at her. "This is insane." Yes. I stood up. I'm in. She blinked. You agree? Princess, I said, if the universe is getting erased, I'd rather die trying something stupid than waiting politely. For the first time, her composure slipped. She smiled. The journey. Days passed, or what passed for days in faster-than-light travel. She didn't treat me like a prisoner anymore. No guards. No restraints. Just questions. Why do humans joke during danger? Because panic doesn't help. Why do humans form bonds quickly? Because we don't live long enough not to. She seemed fascinated. You value individuals over efficiency. Every time. She looked at me thoughtfully. That is why your species survives extinction events. I smirked. We're stubborn. She nodded slowly. Yes, stubborn. But I noticed something. She never slept. Never rested. Always working. Always calculating. You're scared, I said one evening. She froze. Princesses aren't supposed to be scared, I added gently. She looked out at the stars. I am not afraid for myself. For your people. Yes. I crossed my arms. You asked for my help. My condition. You stop pretending you're made of stone. Her eyes narrowed slightly. You negotiate even when powerless. That's the human specialty. She considered, then sat beside me. The silence consumed my brother's fleet, she said quietly. Her voice cracked. I said nothing. For the first time, she wasn't a princess. She was just someone who had lost family. And somehow, the galaxy felt smaller in that moment. The edge of nothing. We arrived at a dead system. No planets. No dust. No radiation. Just blackness where reality should be. The silence. Even the ship hesitated before approaching. My stomach tightened. So, what's the plan? I asked. You go outside. I stared at her. I'm sorry. You must interact with it unpredictably. You're sending me to poke a cosmic void. Yes. I took a deep breath. Okay, but you're coming with me. She shook her head. I am too valuable to risk. I open the airlock. Then your deal is off. She stepped forward sharply. You cannot. Princess, I said softly. You wanted irrational. Here it is. Silence. Then she walked into the airlock beside me. Contact space should have been cold. Instead, it felt wrong. Like standing inside a memory that didn't belong to you. The darkness moved. Not physically, conceptually. My thoughts slowed. I forgot my own name for a second. Elira grabbed my arm. Do not let it define you, she said urgently. The void reacted to her voice. A ripple. I grinned nervously. It notices logic, I whispered. So we give it nonsense. I floated forward. Hello, existential horror. I shouted into nothing. I brought a princess. The darkness twisted violently. Elira stared at me. What are you doing? Being human. I started telling it stories. Bad jokes. Memories. Random childhood nonsense. The void fluctuated unstable. It tried to erase my thoughts. I replaced them faster.
Songs.
Embarrassing moments. The time I tripped in zero-gravity training. I laughed. And suddenly, the darkness recoiled. Elira gasped. It cannot process unpredictability. Too many contradictions.
I yelled.
It's like feeding a calculator emotions. The silence began collapsing inward. Not destroyed. Confused. Retreating. The red zones on the star map vanished one by one. Reality stabilized. I drifted, exhausted. Elira held on to me. You did it, she whispered. I smiled weakly. We did. Ending. A new kind of freedom back in orbit above her world. celebrations erupted across the planet. I stood on a balcony, overlooking millions of lights. No prison? I asked. She shook her head. You are free. I nodded slowly. I think I want to stay anyway. She looked at me, surprised. Why? I shrugged. You needed chaos. Turns out I needed purpose. She stepped closer. My people wish to learn from humans. I smiled. And humans could learn from you too. She hesitated. Then remain. Not as prisoner. I raised an eyebrow. As what? Her voice softened. As my advisor. I laughed. Princess, I fix mining equipment. She smiled. Warm this time. You fix impossible situations. We stood together, watching a safe universe for the first time in years. The deal had changed everything. Not because I saved her empire, but because two completely different beings chose trust over fear. And somehow, that confused the universe enough to let it keep existing.